So, I'm just making sure I'm not connected to anything. My name's Stephen, and I'm from AIgaming.com. I'm part of the AIgaming.com team. And we run challenges on the website that let people use Azure services in order to solve problems by writing code, to play games, and to solve challenges on the site. So during today's event, we're going to run a small challenge that uses some of Microsoft's pre-built AI services to play a game on the AIgaming.com site. And it's a chance for us to show you, one of the things that these Azure accounts that people are talking to you about signing up for can do for you. Some of the services and the power that's built into that Azure account that you'll have access to. So the AI gaming site, when we get onto it, it lets you write code to take part in strategy games. So games like backgammon and chess and things like that. And you can write code to solve challenges like traveling salesman problem and the sort of problems that we come across in computing science. And we have some special challenges, like the one we're going to have an example with today, where we've written it specifically to use, to require particular services to solve it. So I'm going to show you that site in a little bit. We're going to give you some template code. So this is not an enormous learning challenge from this writing code from scratch. We're going to give you a lot of template code. It's already going to access the AI services. But we've left a few problems in there for you to solve. And we're going to give you a little bit of time after I've spoken now, maybe a little bit of time over lunch, and then some time later on at the end of the day when you can maybe improve that code, try to solve some of the problems that we've left in there for you. And we'll put everything together and play a tournament at the end where you can submit your code to a tournament very quickly, play a little tournament, and then we'll be able to give some prizes away for whoever comes out best. Hopefully it's pretty much, it's as much luck in getting your code into the tournament in its basic form as we'll be able to make changes to the code to be able to particularly score highly in it. So it's worth taking part. There's a good chance that everybody, if they submit code to the tournament at the end, has a good chance of coming somewhere up in the rankings. So how's it going to work? So when you're going to sign up for an event, so we've got you signing up for things at the moment. We've got you signing up for these Azure accounts. We're going to sign you up for an event on the AIgaming.com site. It happens very quickly. And we've got this built-in online code editor on the site. So it all integrates with our game manager. All you have to do is write the code that makes a decision as to which move to make next in the game that we're playing. And like I say, a key part of this online code editor is it has template code already. So you're most of the way there. You're just going to have to tweak a little bit in order to play the game. And you're going to be able to see and read the template code to get an idea of how it works. It's very well commented. It's all there to get you going from the start. So that's what we're going to use today. And so the game that we're going to play is, we've developed a game that requires using the Microsoft AI services. So Microsoft have within Azure AI computer vision services. And this game's going to need us to play it. And it's going to be a simple game. It's based on the match game or the pairs game. The simple game where you have a set of tiles in front of you, you turn 2 over at a time, and the plan is to try to match them. If they don't match, you turn them back over, and you have to try and remember where the tiles were for future moves. So you can see in this example, we've got our 2 matching elephants and our 2 matching Sydney Opera House, and then we've turned over 2 tiles that don't match, and we'll turn them back over. Hopefully most of us have played that game. It's a simple game, but we've found a way to make it much more challenging. So, in our game, none of the images match. So the images aren't the same. You can't just compare the 2 images together and say, oh, there's a matching image. So this means in order to match the tiles in our game, we're going to have to understand what the content of the tile is, not something that we can do just writing a simple, usual piece of computer code. So these pictures here, 2 pictures of elephants, but 2 very different pictures of elephants. Same with the Sydney Opera House, 2 very different pictures. But what we can do is we can use the pre-trained computer vision services on Azure and they'll be able to analyze the images, and they'll be able to tell us what the content of the image is. So they'll give us information back that says, this is an elephant, that's the Sydney Opera House, that's a tiger, and it doesn't match with the word Azure, kind of thing. So in a moment, I'll show you more about how we can make this all work on the AI gaming site. As I say, we've got template code that's going to get you most of the way there. And then, as I was saying a little bit earlier, the AI gaming site lets us put all of your code together to play a little tournament against each other. So whatever code you can get together, we'll put it together into a bracket-style knockout tournament where it'll randomly pair people together, and the winner keeps progressing through, and eventually we'll come out with first, second, third, and fourth place. And like I say, you'll have some time after this introduction when you can start having a look at the code, maybe trying to make a little tweak to it. I'm here. We've got Aaron at the back as well. We're going to circulate around the room for a bit, and we'll be able to hopefully answer any questions that you might have in doing it. So the first thing that you need to do is register on this AIgaming.com site. And this is a very quick link. You only have to enter your email and a password, and that will get you registered if you're not already registered at AI Gaming. We did send out some sort of pre-event literature, so some people might have signed up for the AI Gaming site in advance. But if you haven't, follow this link. Even if you have, follow this link anyway, because that will register you for today's event. You can use a personal email. It doesn't matter. You can use an academic email as well if you want to, but probably best to use a personal email address. Either will go. That link is case sensitive as well. I found out after a long time struggling to try to figure out why it wasn't working. So what I'll do now is I'm going to switch over to a browser, and I'm going to just show you that. Here we go. I'm going to show you that registration page, and I'm going to show you how to get going with the AI Gaming site. Oh, look at that. I'm going to turn that around. Sorry. Right, there we go. It should take you to a screen where it's got a sign up button here. Hopefully you've got past that. All you have to do is put an email and a password in, and that'll quickly sign you up for the event. Okay. Unusual delay there, but it tells you you've been signed up. So if you get to this point, hopefully people are getting along and see people with screens. So at this point, all we have to do to be able to start playing and taking part is go to this editor window. This is this online code editor that I was talking about. It immediately takes you to a page that has the match game selected. And from that page, all I have to do is go over to this run button here, and I can run it. And I already have enough code to play in this match game, this Microsoft AI match game that we're playing here. And here we can see the tiles, and they're very quickly being turned over by my code, my template code that I've got loaded up, and it's trying to match them together. So this template code plays a very simple version of the match game. So it doesn't do much. It doesn't make very many intelligent decisions. And this one also doesn't use the Microsoft API, this very simple one, but we have another one for you that does. So from this simple template code here, it's only a few lines. What we'll be able to do is under this new button is load up some of this template code, and we're particularly interested today in this Student Developer Day template code. That's what we've created. I'll give this a file name just so that it's going to let me go back to it in the left-hand column here. And this template code's a little bit longer, and it's very well commented, and it lets you access the AI services. But the one thing that we do need to do now, rather than just hitting that run button, is we need to access our Azure account, the Azure account that Bruno was talking about earlier on signing up for. And we need to get an API key from that gives us registered access to the computer vision services. So were people able to sign up for the Azure account this morning? Did people sign up when Bruno was doing his presentation? Did they have time? Or do we need to come around and help people sign up for an Azure account for 5 minutes just before we go on here and I show you how to get the API key? Let's have a show of hands for particularly people with laptops who hasn't signed up for the Azure account yet and maybe needs a few minutes to do so. This is great. So it looks like everybody signed up pretty much for an Azure account. Okay, great. So what I'll do is, I'm just going to get out of this incognito browser. That's why I'm just coming back to this one. So I'm going to go to that Azure account. So this is my logged in Azure account. I've got a dashboard that's cleared, so you may have much more information presented here in the main body of the screen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new artificial intelligence AI resource for computer vision. And to do that, I'm going to go to the burger menu. It's going to give me this create a resource option. And if I click on that, that's going to allow me to set up something new. You can see right at the top of the list here is this AI and machine learning option. If I click on that, these are all of the AI services that are coming with this Azure account. So the one we're going to use is computer vision here. So if I click on the computer vision link, it'll take me to the screen to create that. And all we're going to have to do, there's a few things to fill in here, but nothing complicated. It takes a little bit of time, but this is it. We're just going to fill in this form, and that will have created us access to these pre-trained models. We've also got a link, or we'll come around and help people do this. If you don't quite keep up here, we'll come around and help people make sure that they've got these API keys if you're having trouble following along right now. So I'm going to select my subscription first. So you will have just created a trial subscription. So you're going to have something under there, that subscription option that says something like Azure trial, Azure for students, student trial subscription, something like that. You just need to choose the subscription that you have. Azure lets you group everything together, because when you get lots and lots of resources, you lose track of them. So it allows you to create a group to put things in, and you have to create at least a group. So I'll just call it my Dev Day group to create a new group to put this in. And then we then say, well, what are some of the details about the service we want? What we do need to do for this region is our AI gaming servers are in Europe. So instead of selecting a region in America or something like that, if you select the West Europe region, then our servers run in Europe, and your code will be running on our servers in our online code editor. If your computer vision service is in West Europe, that will give the quickest response time. So definitely select West Europe here. And then give it a name. This is any name, just again, so you can identify it within your Azure account. And then finally, the last thing that we're going to have to select is the pricing tier. So there's two pricing tiers. One is just to let you trial it. And this second one, the standard S1, gives you 10 calls per second, and that's what you'll need to play the game so that you can make as many moves as possible in the 2.5 minutes that you've got in the game to make responses. So select this standard S1. So really the only things you're choosing here, West Europe and standard F1. So we scroll down, we have to make sure that we agree to the terms and conditions. We've filled everything out now. There's a review and create button at the bottom. And now it's just going to validate that all of the details we've entered will make a valid resource. And I scroll down to the bottom and I hit create. And that's going to create us access keys to Microsoft's pre-trained computer vision services. It doesn't take long to create. The deployment's done. And I can go to this resource here. So this is the resource we've created. I called it Match Game Dev Day. These are the details about it. We need to get the keys that give us access to this service. So on this left-hand side, there's an option to show the keys. And then here we are. We have 2 keys that are going to give us access. So I can show them here. I'm going to delete them at the end of today, kind of thing. You wouldn't normally give your keys away, but I can show you what they are. It creates 2. It doesn't matter. They're both keys to the same service. It always gives you 2 in case one gets compromised. You can delete the compromised one, but you already have your resource created. You can use the other one to keep your service going. So there are 2 keys, but it doesn't matter which one you take. So I click this to copy this key. So I've just copied that key out there. So I can now use this key. That's everything set up from the Azure side. I can use this key now to start using those computer vision services on the AI gaming site in our match game challenge. So in this template code, you can see we've got at the top this big comment that says, put your West Europe computer vision API key here. So if I paste that into there, that's the only change I've made to this code. And I can now run some code that is going to be accessing the computer vision services. So the last time we ran the code, you saw that the tiles were going bang, 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 bang. They were changing. Now it's taking a little bit longer because we're sending the image to Microsoft's AI services. It's analyzing it. It's sending us a result back. So it takes a little bit longer to tick over. But here we can say it's matched together to lizards, maybe reptiles, and it will play through that same random game, but using 4. We've given you the code that will match together the word tiles and will match together the animal tiles. And we've left it for you guys to implement the code that will match together the landmark tiles. So I'm going to show you a little bit where that code is at the moment so that you can have a look at it and spend a little bit of time trying to figure it out yourself. So I'm going to run that again. So we can see here, this is our code that runs, Python code. And here's just our debug output, the results of our print statement, so we can keep track of what's going on. So we see when I play it again here, as it does different things, it's printing out whether we've got an animal has been identified in tile 7 here, and yeah, let's see if it's finds something else. Here's another animal tile been detected. Here's an owl been detected. So we're giving you owls. We're giving you animals and words. Okay, so let me show you briefly. So I'm probably going to take another 6 or 7 minutes of this, just showing you where to look at, how the kind of site works, what you need to concentrate on to be able to do a little bit more. So this sets the computer vision key up, as we've seen, and effectively the main function in our code is going to be this calculate move function. What our game engine does, what our game manager does is it runs a game, it handles all of the game, it manages it, and it says whenever it's your turn to make a move in the game, it's going to call your calculate move function. So it calls calculate move, and it sends you this variable game state, which is a bit of JSON that includes all of the information about the current state of the game. So if I come over here and look at this is our technical reference. If I go down to the Microsoft match game, I can show you an example of this game state information that it will send us. So here's an example of the game state that it's going to send us. So really, there's a lot of information in here, but the only thing that you need to know are these upturned tiles, what we call the upturned tiles. So you will say, I want to turn over 2 tiles. It will then, when it's your next move, it will say, okay, I've done that for you. And the 2 tiles you've turned over are tile 1 and tile 19. And here's the image. This URL is the image that's on the face of that tile. And that's the image that we'll send to the Microsoft AI service for it to analyze, and it'll give us a response back. We've done all of that for you in the template code for today because we haven't got so long to spend figuring it all out. It's all in the template code for you. But that's what it's going to do behind the scenes. So, hang on a sec, I'll close this. Oh, there we go. So calculate move is where it all starts. So if you work through the code, you can have a look there and figure out where it goes from them. It calls a few functions to achieve its goal. And then at the end, it returns this little bit of JSON, which is just a list. So this move variable is just a list of 2 numbers that are the 2 tile numbers that you want to turn over. So tile number 7 and tile number 18 kind of thing. And we put it in a bit of JSON to identify it as tiles. Again, that's explained further here in this technical reference here. If you need to refer to it for a little bit of extra help, it tells you about how to return a move and just what the format of the move is. For today, there's an absolute example of it there. It's all in the code and you can see it. So last thing to show you then is I'll show you down a little bit further down in the code where we've got these functions that check for an animal, that check for a landmark, or that check for text in the tile. Here we go. Here we go. This is the check for landmark function, and this is what we haven't given you. So this function is pretty much empty. Lots of comments in there to help you get an answer together. But this is the function that you're going to have to flesh out in order to just play a little bit better game than the template code that we've given you. But what we have got right underneath it is this check for animal function. And we can see in here there's an example of we're going to return us the subject at the end of the function. So here is where we've already got a response from the Microsoft API, the same that the landmarks function has. And we're going to look in that response to say, is there a landmark in that response? And if there is, what's the name of it? That's what you've got to pull out in this check for landmark function. So we've given you examples of pretty much what you need to do. We've given you an example of the things you're going to have to check to see if there is a landmark in there. So hopefully you'll be able to work through that commented code and get to a point where we can implement this. I know some people haven't got laptops and things like that as well. So it's probably pretty much going to be a laptop activity. It's not the kind of thing, although it is accessible on a mobile phone, definitely it's not the kind of thing where you're going to be able to do much on a phone, but you can still go into the editor on your phones and you can still browse through the template code. You can still try to get an idea of what it's doing in there. So that's going to be the challenge. So there's two things we're going to do now. We're going to give you a bit of time to look at it yourselves. We're going to check that you've definitely got an Azure account set up. If you need any help setting up an Azure account, I'm going to check with you if you've got an API key, if you've been able to create an API key. If anybody hasn't, just put the hands up. Myself, Aaron at the back of the room, and Bruno is going to help out making sure we've got Azure accounts and things like that. And then once that's done, we'll help you if people are looking at this, not that one, but the check for landmark function. So really all you're doing is putting that API key in and coming straight down to this check for landmark function. And if people just need a little bit of help, a little bit of pointers in maybe understanding the JSON format that you have to put it into in order to check it, then we can help you with that. So that's the main challenge. Who writes code? Who's on a coding course or a technology course, STEM courses? So quite a few people. There was even some hands up over there, sort of thing. So quite a few people are writing code. So hopefully you'll be able to interpret the code that's there as the example and just rework it a little bit just to get those landmarks going. And once landmarks are added in, that's great code to be able to submit to this tournament. And I'll show you in a little while how long have I taken. Maybe in 15 minutes, I'll show you just before lunch how we can submit code to a tournament, but we'll run the tournament later on. Okay, I'm going to leave you to get on with things. That took longer than I expected. So I'll leave you to get on with things, but we're going to mill around in the room to help out and answer questions. Cheers.
Today we've been assigned an AI gaming challenge.
What I wasn't expecting was for the challenge that we have received to be open throughout the whole day, which I feel like it's a great opportunity for us to pay attention to the talks, but also during break times to put and change some code.
It's very challenging. I'm finding it a bit difficult to get it, but I think I figured it out.
The best way I found to go about it was to try and find out which tiles were in this bonus category and try and match them all in a row. Multiply gets so big that matching tiles almost doesn't matter anymore.
We've got 20 minutes now to just talk a little bit or write more code if people are still working on code. We can still answer questions if people have questions, and we can tell you a little bit more. So if anybody has some questions, put their hands up and interrupt us. We'll get them done. But I'm going to chat on for a little bit as we build up to this tournament running. One thing that I was going to say is, so the tournament that you've taken part in today is also going to run on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this coming week as an extension to the Microsoft Build event. So the same that you've registered for this event and you've submitted your code, there are 4 other events in these different regions. So the EMEA region will be the best region for you guys. But you could, if you were to follow this link with this event code at the end, you could use the code that you've developed today, and you could submit that code to the Microsoft Build event. So this is a worldwide event. And then what will happen is the winners of these events will be invited to then submit their code to a Champion of Champions event that Microsoft wants to run. And they want to see who's been able to put the best code together across all of the events that they run. And what we'll do is we'll include the 4 people who come top 4 in this event in that Champion of Champions as well. So maybe if you submit code to the EMEA event, you might be able to snag 2 chances at getting into the Champion of Champions kind of event. The main point being all the code that you've written now could absolutely be used to get you ahead in the EMEA event that's running for Microsoft Build Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So I'll leave that up there, but people can come and I'll give them that link. It's quite a long link to write down. We'll be able to give you that link if you want to ask for it later on. Or maybe take a photo of the screen or something if you want to just get it so you can come back to it later on. As we can see here, so these are the tournaments that are scheduled. So I get to see all of the tournaments that are scheduled at the moment. This is our tournament for today, the Developer Day Final. We've got 18 people that have submitted code to it at the moment.
The competition was sort of knockout competition where there were different brackets. So if you lost, you were completely out, and the winner proceeded each time. So the winning AI proceeded each time. Yeah.
Okay, so again, while we're waiting for this event, people might be coding, but I'll talk a little bit about maybe some of the strategies, particularly if you wanted to go on and enter your code into the worldwide build event. So we can see that people have matched all of these tiles here, and this user has managed to score 80 points in the game. So you get 1 point for matching tiles, but there is a strategy, some people picked up on it, some people didn't, where there's a bonus category that says if you match tiles that are in the bonus category, then it doubles your score multiplier. This is the score multiplier here, the 1 times bonus. So if you read the bonus category, say it's words, and then you match 2 word tiles together, then your bonus multiplier doubles. So you're going to get 2 points for it. And if consecutively, the bonus category will then change, maybe it'll change to animals. If you then find 2 animals and match them together in your next move, your bonus multiplier doubles again. So you're going to get 4 points. And if you consecutively keep matching in this randomly changing bonus category, you're going to get 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. So you can score thousands of points in the game effectively if you use this bonus category. So it's a little bit more of an advanced strategy that you can apply to this code. It takes a little bit more time usually to write that kind of code. We haven't had that much time today. So some people, I think, will have taken advantage of it. Some people might not have. But if you were spending more time and you wanted to submit code into the build event tournament, that would be worth looking at. And the best way to do that, so if you want to make the most of the bonus category, then the best way to do that is to know what all of the tiles are before you start matching any of the tiles together. So you could effectively start looking at each of the tiles 2 at a time, but never submit tiles that actually match as a move. And if you do that, there are 36 tiles on the board. So if for the first 18 moves, you never submit tiles that match, then on move 19, you can say, what's the bonus category? It's words. Well, I know what all of the tiles are now, so I'm going to choose 2 tiles that match, and I'll submit that. Your bonus multiplier doubles. This bonus category will then randomly change. Let's say it becomes landmarks, and you'll say, well, okay, I know what all the tiles are still. I'm going to choose 2 landmarks that I know match, and I'll submit that. Bonus category doubles again, and so you can go on saying 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 points every time you match tiles. So you can see that to score 80 points in the game, then this bot here must have got some of those bonus categories. In fact, you can see here, they got 5 bonus multipliers during the game. So they've managed to do a little bit, but they haven't done that much. If you get it right, you can score thousands of points. So it's a strategy that would mean that in the same number of moves that other people make, you can score significantly more in the game. I mentioned it mainly. Some people might have picked up on that and they may have implemented that in the time that we've had today, but it's more that if you wanted to keep playing and you wanted to get the most out of the game, that would be the strategy to put in place. So what we've got is, if I go back, I'm going to look at the tournaments. We've got this tournament running, so it's going to run in about 15 minutes time. So I'm going to leave, if anybody's got any questions, I can come around and answer any questions. But I'll leave you for 10 minutes while we wait for this tournament to begin. But if you haven't submitted code, make sure you get your code submitted ready for the tournament if you haven't got it put in there yet. Okay.
Start at 6 o'clock on the dot.
Yeah.
Oh,
It cannot be changed.
the website is funny now.
It cannot be changed. It's going to start any second now. It's running. Was I distracted? Okay, so here's the tournament. So we can see that it's automatically matched some people together. Some people get a bye because we're not matched through. Some people get to go through in a lucky bye. But here we can watch a game that's playing already. Who have we got? XT Lee playing against Kolak. I'm going to call that Kolak Kank. So we've got 5 points to 5. Here's the points at the top of the game. 5 points to 5. So 6 points. Kolak Kank. I can't pronounce that. 7 points to 6. 7 points to 7. It's a pretty evenly matched game. Oh, Kolak has pulled ahead with 10 points. XT Lee's come back with 9 points. They're catching up. Pretty evenly matched this game. 16 points. Kolak's pulled ahead with 16 points to 12. 19 points to 15. They're consistently keeping themselves ahead. 22 to 15. It looks like, there we go. Kolak wins that, 30 points to 16. So that's how the game plays out. That was the first round. So people in the first round have finished their games now, and now we're matching them up for the second round. Let's watch this game here and see how these people get on. What have we got? Purin UK and Divyank. Divyank's taken an early lead, 3 points to 2 points. 5 points to Divyank. It looks like there's a lot of thinking going on in the background. 7 points to 3 points. Purin's UK taking a considered approach, but trailing behind at the moment. Let's see what's happening. Purin's UK has jumped into the lead. Divyank hasn't made a match. It's now 14 points to Purin's UK on the left, 20 points to Purin's UK on the left. Purin's UK is making a late storm, piling ahead of Divyank, who's not matching any more tiles, and they've cleared up the board 37-9. So after a slow start, Purin's UK comes in to get that and moves on to the next round. So we're just waiting for these to finish. They'll be allocated through. See if we can catch this game just at the end. 9 points and 13 points. 12 points and 13 points. It's a pretty close game. Mahasyed against Ritvik. 21 to 14. There's a clear lead. 24 points to 15. There's a clear lead. It looks like it's going to be Mahasyed. Yeah, Mahasyed gets that game. And that now gets us into the quarterfinals. Let's see who we can look at here. Oh, do we recognize this name? Who have we got? Barathan versus Lightning McMean. So we've got 2 points to Barathan. They've taken an early lead. Lightning McMean McMeem hasn't scored any points at all yet, but Barathan getting a few points on the board. Lightning McMeem still yet to score anything. So it looks like I'm spotting the potential of a strategy here. This looks like a very considered approach to looking at the tiles on the bottom, on the right-hand side. What's going to happen here? I suspect we're going to get to the end here, and we might get some... Oh, there's some matching coming in now. Yes, there's some matching coming in right at the end. And remember that bonus category that I was talking about? So here's 2,000 points, 16,000 points scored in the game. I think 32,000 points. Lightning McMeem has, without even clearing the board. So that looked like a pretty good result there. Lightning McMeem. Let's see if we can watch this match and see who they're going to play against. So we know we've got one really strong contender in the pack here. Who have we got? EC 21-21 against Arnavco. And it's 8 points to Arnavco on the left. 9 points. 10 points. Arnavco just keeping themselves in the lead during the game. 14 points to 7. 16 points, 17 points. So keeping well ahead of EC 21-21. Matching them up at the end. Arnavco goes into the... So here we are in the final. And we've seen both of these players play now. So we've seen Arnavco play, and we've seen Lightning McMeem play. And we can see this strategy here. This considered strategy of working from the top left of the tiles. It looks like Lightning McMeem's just working from top left to bottom right, looking at every tile before they even try to match anything. I don't know if Arnav Kohli's doing the same thing, but they might be doing something similar. But again, I think we're going to see this come to the bottom here, and I think we're going to see Lightning McMeem start making the matches. So from no points at the moment versus 11 points from Arnav Kohli. Are we here? Is this move number 19? There we go. Now we're going to start matching. 14 points, 62 points to Lightning McMeem, 510, 1,000, and the matches are coming in. So an unlucky bonus category, but 1,000 points to Lightning McMeem. Lightning McMeem wins the game against Arnav Kohli in the final, which means that we've got a very clear winner. Lightning McMeem. Timmy3 is the account name. The wins out considerably in our final game, 1,000 points to 36 points. So, Lightning McMeem, wherever they are in the room, I think they might be over here. Comes out as the winner in the tournament. Excellent, very well done. So, taking advantage of that bonus strategy, being able to figure it out, and just wait until the 19th move before matching them together. Knew what pretty much every image was before they started matching the tiles. And you saw in that earlier game, 60-odd thousand points, was it? If you can put code like that into this worldwide tournament that we're running, and it's not that far away to get that code using that bonus category, got a real chance of coming in the top 4 in one of those regional finals as well. Okay, guys, that's it from me.
I wasn't aware that I was so good at AI. It's not really something I've touched on before, but it was a great introduction to using AI and the applications of it in a fun way. This could well be the start of a career for me, and definitely something to look into in the future.